Good morning everybody. On behalf of School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, I, Rakhi Sharma, Program Coordinator ACPDM, welcome you all in this interactive teleconferencing program of Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management. Friends, as you are aware that we conduct the teleconferencing sessions on the various topics related to the power distribution sector, and for this we invite the eminent experts from the power sector. Now let me take this opportunity to introduce our today's expert. It's our privilege to have Dr. R.P. Saxena, Consultant and former Deputy Director General, Directorate of Enforcement, Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. We welcome you, sir, in this teleconferencing program. Now, I would request to Dr. R.P. Saxena to take up today's presentation.
Thank you. You see, today's topic, overview of the distribution business and information technology, I divide in two parts. First of all, the overview on the distribution on the power sector, and the information technology portion I will cover later on. I have been in this sector during the last 38 years, and I was the Deputy Director General and the Head of the Energy Information Division in the Ministry of IT, and looking after all the ministries dealing with the energy sector. First of all, I would like to just introduce this power distribution sector. The distribution business management I can divide in two portions. One is the transmission and distribution, which is spread throughout the India, and it consists of two portions. One is the transmission distribution system and the consumers of the electricity, because basically the benefits and the users are the consumers of the electricity. Again, it constitutes the link between the electricity utilities, the power distribution system, transmission distribution system. The responsibility for the implementation, for the maintenance, is all lies with the electric utilities, power departments. Consumers are the end users who are to use the electricity through the transmission and distribution lines. Then the main aspect of the power distribution is the revenue realization. If the revenue is not realized, is not received, the utilities will be in problem. Therefore, this is the main area, thrust area in the power distribution sector, which has to be focused. Next is the revenue realization from various categories of the consumers. Then for the consumers, it represents the face of the utility. So basically, the linkage in between the utility and the users, this is what the main focus on the power distribution system. Now, I will further go over in the distribution management system to sustain the growth of the power sector and the economy. The efficient functioning of the utilities is essential. If the utilities do not function properly, finally the power system will be affected, and the power system is affected, the losses towards the economy. The present system, now let me just categorize what are the problems. Losses is one of the things. You will see the entire power sector unacceptably high losses, both technical and commercial. I will discuss this aspect slightly later. Poor quality and unreliable supply. If you ask any of the consumer, any of the user, is not satisfied. So much voltage up and down. Then poor billing. Even the person who has got the connection, he is not satisfied because the billing conditions are very poor. He is not getting the bill what he has consumed, or even he is getting it, he is unsatisfied. User want to pay the money for the electricity which is used. Then there are so many problems in between, therefore there are poor revenue collection. Frequent interruptions in supply, and result is consumer dissatisfaction. Lot of service has been done, and therefore lot of action has been taken, but the result is the dissatisfaction of the user, which is the main important thrust area. I will further continue. Losses in distribution system include non-technical and commercial losses, and which constitute the large component of the overall losses. Losses on account of defective slow meters, stuck off meters, burnt meters, losses on account of estimation involved in the agriculture sector, consumption about to 30% of the total, absence of the adequate metering system, deficiencies in the consumer metering, reported loss underestimated, and cover a large commercial losses. Theft. Theft is the main important area, and this theft is unaccountable, and the entire losses due to theft are put again under the T&D losses. Technical losses are very high if we compare these losses anywhere in the world. Further, bulk of the losses occur in the sub-transmission and the distribution system. Inefficiency, frequent interruptions, flickers, poor voltage are also characterized in the distribution system. Billing and revenue collections are very poor, leading to a combined state utility financial losses up to 26,000 crores every year. In the current trend continues another 3 years, this will go to rupees 45,000 crores a year. So there is 1 zero extra here, but this loss is a very important figure, because the question is this has to be stopped, and there are a lot of actions have been taken by the ministry, a lot of advice and action groups are there, but this is the main first problem area in the power sector, how to reduce the losses. Let us analyze what are the problems in the power utilities, who are the custodian of the power transmission and distribution lines. Power utilities in India under pressure all the time. This is the only sector where so many apex agencies are there who are monitoring it. Everybody says you slash the charges, improve the quality and reliability. Distribution and transmission system have witnessed considerable technical development. It is not in so many years we have a lot of development, but in spite of this there is a slow progress. This is another area. The distribution and to some extent the sub-transmission systems have been neglected. The way in which they should be upgraded, this has not been done, and have suffered due to poor operating efficiencies, leading to financial losses. Cynical customer perception. Distribution system have suffered mainly from the following: unbalanced load flow, poor voltage regulation, high level of technical peak power losses, conductor heating equipment damages, very high unaccountable energy losses, 20 to 40%, as against the international standard, which is about 8 to 10%. It means our losses are about 4 times high. Now let me just sum up what is the existing scenario in the power sector. Power sector is one of the core sector of an economy. If the power sector is not strengthened, none of the sector can progress. Many operating organizations are directly responsible for. This is the only sector where more than 10 organizations are responsible, which are monitoring and managing information with respect to ongoing project and existing projects, monitoring various milestones related to the ongoing projects. The economic growth of the country will depend on the power availability, and if we see the power availability of the Delhi is not sufficient to get the power supply. Demand is being met by getting power from the neighboring states. Power is an important subject for the progress. Another problem is it's such a vast country, so many utilities, so many power departments, so many state power agencies, so many central power sector agencies. Now getting a data at a single point, at a single place, this is the main problem. So data capturing, data compiling, data disseminating, managing, modeling the information as per the need of the planners, and is still done using the conventional methods. There are only few SEVs like HPSEV or APSEV where these things have been slightly systematized, but still the last problem which I discussed, data capturing, compiling, disseminating, managing, modeling the information, is still not done in SEACV fully computerized system. Now, the organization, the apex organization which I was just telling, which I was referring, the Ministry of Power, which is the nodal agency for monitoring the entire power sector. Central Authority, which is the, as per the Act, responsible for the data. The last thing which I said, this is responsible for the data capturing, compiling, disseminating, managing, modeling information as per the Act. State electricity boards are responsible for this, the same subject within their state. Power departments are responsible where the SEBs are not there. State government undertakings have been giving some of the areas which they are monitoring. Central power sector undertakings, there are 10, they are giving the important projects from central government which they are doing it. MPI, this is the monitoring agencies for some mega projects which is monitoring from the Ministry of the Program Implementation. Planning Commission is overall responsible for financing the projects, financing all the ministries, all the utilities in respect to the power sector. MNEC is another area which is the ministry, which is the non-conventional energy sources ministry. Now the name has changed. Now this is as per the 2007, this is data of the 2007, where 76760 megawatt is available from renewable sources, and out of the total 1,32,110 capacity. Now what are the issues in power sector? Made impressive progress, but there are a number of problems. Sector is not sufficient in terms of the generation. Although the generation capacity has increased from 1362 megawatts, which was 1947, to 132,110 megawatts as on 28 May 2007. Addition of the capacity is to be added to meet the demand. Demand is far outstripped. Demand and supply gap is widening. Generating companies are not able to recover their dues. Huge financial losses in utility every year due to the power theft. Ineffective practices billing and collection. Losses have reached an alarming rupees 26,000 crores. T&D losses are shown around 25%, but actually they are around 40 to 50%. Non-availability of the right information at right time to the decision makers. Many infrastructure projects are suffering from the time overrun and the cost overrun. Inefficiency of the staff in tackling the consumer problem, low productivity, frequency interruption in supply and poor voltage. Now what is needed to bring this sector to get rid of the problem which I just discussed? Induction of the IT is the answer, which will improve overall health of the utilities, improve the quality of the data, quick flow of the information for the decision support, implement initiatives suggested under the reform process and the practices. Now all these problems have been discussed from time to time by the various apex agencies. They made an information policy, they made a reform policy given to all the utilities, which I will discuss slightly later on. Now induction of IT in bringing improvement in the following activities in a scientific and efficient manner. This is the most important. In the planning area, implementation, operation of T&D system, eliminate the present traditional reactive and ad hoc approach. What has been done here? The utilities, the departments are working in standalone mode. One section, one division does not talk to division, each person is own work. So what is required here? The ad hoc approach has to be stopped of the network development. Approach should be based on the technical and reliability requirement, economic consideration of the cost and energy losses, expansion system to meet the growth of the prospective demand and the least cost. action suggested by the Ministry of Power is the, as I told you, out of the all the apex agencies, Ministry of Power is overall responsible. They develop a national grid under the which is under progress. 3 regional grids are already integrated. Utilities have been advised to use the modern management practices. The power sector is being reformed to meet the increased demand fueled by high economic growth. SEBs have been unbundled. Each of the utility has been divided in 3 portions: generation, transmission and distribution. Now there are separate companies, so that the generation company may see how the generation can be increased. Transmission and distribution company has to look how to distribute. Now let me just come to some of the IT application areas where IT can help. First of all, there is a need for the IT-based interventions. Without this, the losses, which are about more than 40%, this cannot be reduced. There has to be change in the management with respect to IT applications. IT application cannot work in an standalone mode. It is not a custody of any of the particular division, but it has to be shared, the information. These applications are to be used in the areas of the project management, financial management, distributed network analysis. Metering is the most important. Consumer indexing is the another area, data acquisition and management and asset management. Metering itself is a wide area. There are so many types of the meters, still the things are on manual basis. In fact, I will not be covering this area except touching this metering. Now, power system applications. In this, indexing of all the feeders and transformers. This is the most important. Lots of the transformers are in the power sector, and if one becomes down, which one has to be sent, how fast that can be repaired, this is the most important. And therefore, the indexing is the most important. IT-based surveillance for detecting the pilferage of the power. If you go out of the Delhi, everywhere you find lot of wires are hanging, and there is not accountability. And all these things have been put under the theft. GIS application is the most important area where not much work has been done except 3 or 4 utilities. And GIS application distribution system will improve the management. Customer information and satisfaction. If you want to improve the losses, you have to train, you have to educate the customer, and you have to make a means how you get, how you derive the money which customer is ready to pay. Customer benefit application are to be developed. Interactive website for the customer should be there so that they can see their usage, their payment. There are nowadays so many applications. If you see the banking application, by person sitting there, he need not go for updation of the passbook. He goes somewhere once in a 6 months. Every day, whatever transaction it takes place, he can see from the sitting from his terminal, from the residence or wherever he is. Interactive voice response system. Customer care and call centers. Customer analysis tools. Metering. The issues and innovations are to be seen with respect to this. Still there are some, we are working on the manual system where the automatic meter reader is going house to house, taking a reading. This reading are again manipulated, and when it will go to the database, there is no database exists. The information has to be automated in such a way that the entire meter reading must go within a minimum time, and it must reach within the database, and the information of the user should also be available so that the conflict between the user and the utility on the non-payment or the incorrect information may be corrected. Hand HHD, which is another thing with a handheld device. This is the most common. In UP I have seen, Bihar I have seen, still the meter operator is going with the handheld device, is taking the reading. Billing. Most of the utilities are suffering on losses because they are not getting the revenue from the users. So billing, spot billing, handheld metering, this is the main area which will again a part of the metering, and this can be covered there. Online billing for the customers. Nowadays, any bill which is coming here, at least I am in Delhi, I have seen it, that the bill which comes here, just log into the website, you can make a payment online. Now, this type of facility has to be done by all the electricity boards and all the utilities. I have seen in Jammu and Kashmir, bills are never paid. Lot of areas people are using the free electricity. Collection, online payment, pending payment. Infrastructure requirement. Now, if all these things are to be developed, another thing, we must have the infrastructure in the power sector. Infrastructure means we have to have a WAN, wide area network, to connect the various offices within a utility. We should have a LAN so that all the wings, all the officers within the department are connected. We should have a BC facility like this, where the problem faced by a officer in utility, problem faced by a project officer may be discussed with the decision makers who is to give the approval. Now what happens if he finds a problem, he writes a letter, he sends a fax, he waits for the reply of the fax, or if he does not get, he starts moving from the place, which is 90% cases happens, and a lot of time is wasted. So BC is the one of the answer where the project authorities may go on the one end, and the apex organization or the whosoever is the decision maker, he should be the other hand, so that he can see the live BC. I will just cover this area later on. Database. Without database things will not work. You cannot get the information on a pockets. But nowadays web is the most important. For every area you can cite, you go internet, you make any search, you get lot of the websites where the person has put the information. So now, since India is such a vast country, each of the information which we want to monitor, which we want to share, which we want to facilitate, and if you want the user should benefit, we must have the proper web application which can benefit the customers. Now, setting up the wide area network for the power utilities, for the central public sector undertaking, state public sector undertakings is a must. Setting of the BC facility at the headquarters of the utilities, CPUCs, ministry, power department and project locations for effective monitoring and also for time saving. Most important is the time saving, because our projects are running, time overrun and cost overrun problem. This can be solved with this BC facility, because they are not getting the right direction at the right time, and therefore the right decision which has to be taken by the project authority, they are just waiting, and therefore many of the projects are suffering. There has to be MIS for the online monitoring of the various milestones related to power projects, generation, transmission, distribution, and there are so many other areas. Again, web-based application for information sharing, collection and compilation of the basic data locally as well as remotely, transmitting the same using local area network and wide area network. As of today, most of the utilities are still working. Their divisions are working in external mode. Information is not able to share within the office, because we don't have a LAN. Wide area network comes only once all the offices are connected, and then you want to share the information in one office to the other office. Storing and processing large volume of data is impossible without a proper database, without a proper website. Process of functional availability will accelerate if we have proper infrastructure, which I just now discussed. Enforcing standards is the most important. How as much money we can throw in any of the sector, and power sector, which is large, until unless we enforce the standard in bringing out accountability, what each person is supposed to do, responsiveness. Responsive and transparent governments is the most important. If you want data is pure, data becomes useful. Enforcing a standard in the timely availability of data, and therefore what you require is proper training. If persons are untrained, if you thrust the IT without giving a proper training, it will certainly not be useful. Precision and accuracy information is the most important. In fact, data consistency comes, and data consistency can come only through the database. And therefore data integrity maintenance is the most important. We have to enforce the standards on the layouts, what we want from the system, and there has to be proper formats, and this format has to be followed in all the utilities. And also if you want a central database for the power sector, and therefore all the formats has to be standardized in all the utilities, all the department, all the state utilities and central sector utilities. Streamlining the reporting procedures on the information dissemination. Maintenance of safety and security standard is the most important. Citizen-centric information gateways will help public and citizen to get the information. Ensuring information on a single point and single window. Some efforts have been done in APSCB on this. Monitoring and managing the information related to the sector. This is the most important, and this is possible only if we enforce the standards. E-governance implementation. The basic need is the effective governance, is the implementation of the databases. With the implementation, right information is likely to be available to the right person at right time. And therefore, for making the right information available, again database implementation is one portion. Other portion is development of the programs, develop of the procedure, develop of the query language, develop of the query procedures, so that the information can be taken out from database. Who should take out? What way should be taken out? Therefore proper training is the most important for the good e-governance. And for this, what is stated is setting up the web-based application on the front side, and backend has to be database. The information coming from the utilities, from the power department, has to be put in database, which should be linked to the web-based application, so that the user may see back. Database should be custodian of the utilities, should be custodian of the whosoever is the custodian of the data. This should not be allowed to other one, but the web-based application should be such which should be accessible by the public. Implementation of high-speed satellite-based computer communication. For example, this center must be connected through some satellite, and therefore either it should be satellite-based computer communication network, like PowerNet was done, or there should be high-speed leased line, or there should be fiber optic connectivity. Now, video conferencing facility nowadays is become much cheaper, and what you require is installation of a high-speed communication, which can be through BSAT or through ISDN line or high-speed dedicated line, you have to install a BC equipment along with the computer. ISDN lines are also much cheaper, because wherever you get the ISDN line, you are paying just double the ISD rate, and ISD rate has become much cheaper. BC equipment, the cost is also not high, it is about 1 to 2 lakhs. Computers which are coming so costly, now it is available 30 to 40,000. BC systems have been installed in the power sector. It is being used by the power minister, secretary, CMD, all the CMDs of the central public sector undertakings, chairman CA. And in fact, these BCs are being done every week in the Ministry of Power with the project authorities, twice in a week, where the project authorities come to the project site, but the BCs are not available on the other end. And the National Informatics Center offices are located at all the districts of the country, and these officers bring their drawings and everything at the NIC center other side, and they interact on the BC, on the progress of the projects through the studio-based system which is installed in all the ministries. In ministry, it is installed in the conference room of the ministry, including Ministry of Power. Now this is this is saving the time and cost, and also monitoring is possible. Also, whatever the problems which are being encountered at the project authorities, they are giving the decision then and there. Now these are some of the data. These are the 10 central sector public sector undertakings: PFC, BBMB, NTPC, DVC, NSPC, NJPC, Powergrid, THDC, REC and NIPCO. They are having all the BC system which are being used for the monitoring central sector projects. BC in the power sector is used by the MPI, project monitoring in the mega projects, monitoring milestones on the ongoing projects, execution projects and T&D projects, review and discussion with the project implementing authorities, officers at the project site. But this is being what I am just describing is for the central sector PSUs. This is not being done for the utilities. This has to be extended, because they are the basically custodian of the custodian of the projects, and there should be implemented between the utility headquarter and the project authorities, which is either in the districts or at the deep in the districts. Project monitoring of the mega project, monitoring of milestones of ongoing project, T&D projects. Now, what is required to solve the crisis? To solve the present situation and management of the South T&D system in the power utilities, immediate action is required. How to achieve a turnaround and self-sustained in the power sector. It will be ideal to model low voltage network emanating from the each and every distribution transformer. As there are large number of the network entities and large number of low voltage consumers, network data may be collected in phases. Because since you have such a vast power sector, each of the utility is very vast, and therefore it has to be done in phases. In first phase, data should be collected for the sub-transmission network of 33 kV or the 66 kV and 11 kV distribution, have a sample low voltage system including consumers. In subsequent phase, complete low voltage network could be taken up if required. The sample low voltage network would be from the high density, medium density and low density pockets, and covering different categories of the consumers. This will serve the basis for determining the overall losses and improvement required in the entire low voltage network. Now, data collection, mapping of the network through the survey. Basically, entire data can be collected by single agencies. Agency has to hire some external agencies who should do the survey, and survey would require following things: create digitized background map of the area, which could be both from the following: georeference satellite imagery procured from the NRSA, survey of the India maps, survey of the entire area, locating and collecting attribute data with respect to pole, overhead computer segment, underground computer segment, 11.0, 4 kV distribution transformer substations, the poles, consumer locations, service poles, substations, etc. shall be located within an accuracy plus minus 100 meters related to the base map. This could be done either with the differential geographical positioning systems or other techniques using electronic distance angle measuring equipment based on the laser or combination of these techniques. For Delhi this has been done, and in fact this is being used. Plot of the above points of the entities on the digitized map, model the network using a network mapping software and build the customized queries and network database. Now usage of the data collected in the mapping of the network through surveys of the geographical area. Suitable interfaces are to be developed. Data collection was the one area. Now suitable interface is required to be developed to interact with the RDMS. This is the most important. Operating staff involved in the spatial and the non-spatial attribute data can help users in designing and creating the required interfaces. Now again the interfaces has to be developed using the person who has to use the data, and therefore their engineers' involvement is a must. The survey data could be used to point out the poles, conductor segment located around a road. This could be affected due to widening of the road or the construction of the overbridge. The actual topology or the identified area is a must, because as the things progress you require actual data for the power sector. Now since the tower is short, I will just skip some of the slides. I will just can I cover this thing in the next slide?
Yeah, we can cover. So
I will just stop here, and I will cover, because this is some of the area which I would highlight it. What is the type of work which have been done in the power sector, and then I will continue. Since the second lecture is mine, I will cover this thing there.
So Dr. Saxena has discussed about the distribution business and information technology, and in the next session we will discuss about the further topics related to this IT applications. Now we will be in the short break of the 15 minutes, and we will be in again discussion in after 15 minutes sharp 12. Thank you.